Hey everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and well, I finally get into my June pay-per-view review, and it is not a good one. In fact, next week is the 20th anniversary of this show, and I'm talking about WCW's Great American Bash 2000. Took place June 11th, 2000 in Baltimore, Maryland at the Baltimore Arena. And yes, this is the second year in a row I'm reviewing a show that took place in Baltimore. And unlike King of the Ring 1994, this is a very fucking bad show because this is WCW in 2000, people. This isn't going to be my first dip into 2000's WCW era pay-per-views, and it's not going to be my last either as a reviewer. And yes, I'm planning to do a WCW 2000 pay-per-view at least once a year or so. But anyway, this show is absolute fucking horseshit. This show is absolute horseshit. I mean, this show made Starrcade 1999 look good in comparison. So let's get into this show. We open with a match for the Cruiserweight Championship as the champion, Lieutenant Loco Jr., a.k.a. Chavo Guerrero Jr., a member of the Misfits in Action, or the MIA, with the rest of the Misfits in Action at ringside, taking on the challenger of the Disco Inferno, who has the Filthy Animals at his side in his corner. Oh yeah, and the Disco Inferno is a member of the Filthy Animals. Why did they make him a member of the Filthy Animals? I have no idea why he was a member of the Filthy Animals. And yes, unlike his past ring gear, Disco is wearing a Lakers jersey and Lakers basketball shorts in this match. And a lot of shenanigans come into play here. I mean, you have this old guy that's part of the MIA named Pops, and he's at ringside, and this match for the Cruiserweight Championship, nobody fucking cared about the Cruiserweight Championship after what happened with Ed Ferreira. So yeah, Lieutenant Loco gets the victory, or Chavo Guerrero gets the victory, and that's enough of that bullshit. And yeah, we had Major Guns revive Pops. And don't worry, this isn't the only time the Filthy Animals are on this show. Oh, we see them again later on in the main event. Next up, we get a tag team match as Chronic, Brian Adams, and Brian Clark, a.k.a. Crush and Adam Bomb, defeating the Mamalukes, or the Paisans. And this was supposed to be like a number one contenders tag team title match, and most of this match had Big Vito, who had became the hardcore champion, basically focus more on his hardcore title rather than helping his partner Johnny the Bull. It practically was just a handicap match, nothing more, nothing less. And Chronic got the victory, nothing more to be said. Next up, we get an ambulance match as Mike Awesome defeats Diamond Dallas Page. And yes, Mike Awesome had just came to WCW a few months ago. Now, back at Slamboree, Mike Awesome threw Canyon off the top of the triple-decker cage, off the Ready to Rumble cage, in Kansas City where Kanyon fell through the stage. Okay. So, you had Kanyon being taken out to ringside by Diamond Dallas Page, or technically he was sitting up on the stage in a wheelchair. And, of course, since this took place during the New Blood, during the era of the New Blood, well, we had Kimberly come out and she nailed Dallas in the back with a pipe. We had Eric Bischoff come out briefly during the match, and he got clobbered by Page. And then Kanyon gets up from the wheelchair by some miracle, takes the halo thing around off of his head, around his head and neck, takes that off, and then turns on Diamond Dallas Page and gives him a diamond cutter off the stage and allies himself with fucking Mike Awesome, basically declaring himself a member of the New Blood. All because Eric Bischoff, during the build-up to this match, offered Kanyon a deal. I mean, so, yeah, Kanyon then put Page on the stretcher into the ambulance, and Diamond Dallas Page loses to Mike Awesome thanks to Kanyon. Even though Page was fighting for Kanyon. And yes, this launched Kanyon's whole Positively Kanyon gimmick that he would be doing. Next up, we get a crappy boot camp match as G.I. Bro, a.k.a. Booker T, defeats Sean Stasiak? In a boot camp match. And yes, Stasiak was one half of the World Tag Team Champions. This practically was a last man standing match, and it was not even a great one. In fact, why the fuck did Sean Stasiak get 10 minutes or 13 minutes, or how many minutes this match was with Booker T? He didn't deserve to have a full 10 minutes with Booker T. Fuck Sean Stasiak. Sean Stasiak, the guy who basically came out to being called meat back in the WWF. You really think we're just gonna forget about that? No. Because you really can't cover up something like that. You really just can't. So yeah, Booker T gets the full 10 count, and yes, Chuck Palumbo, who was Stasiak's partner, he comes out and he tried. It basically was like a handicap match, except Booker T won. Or G.I. Bro won, because Booker was doing this ridiculous gimmick. Fuck G.I. Bro. It was a shitty gimmick. It was an idiotic thing to have Booker T dress like that. To dress in military clothes. G.I. Bro was such a fucking stupid gimmick, and I am pissed off they ever even thought it was a good idea. Next up, we get a best of 5 tables match. A best of 5 tables match. What the fuck is this? So, basically, The Wall and the franchise Shane Douglas basically have to put each other through multiple tables to win this, to make it a best of 5 tables match. And this tables match was fucking stupid, because when you have a one-on-one tables match, you put your person through one table and that's it. And you yourself can't. And yes, You can't put yourself through a table, you have to put your opponent through a table. Instead of just being a simple tables match, they had to have the whole best of 5 tables match. So the first table scored in this was by The Wall, who chokeslammed Shane Douglas through 1 table. Then he put Shane Douglas through through a second table. But then they were battling over by the stage area. They climbed this ladder, and Douglas knocked The Wall off this top of the ladder, and The Wall went through 2 tables and this platform. How does that look like a fucking table to where Tony Schiavone is sitting? Shane Douglas should not have won this match, but he did. He was declared the winner. It was fucking stupid. That's what it was. It was fucking stupid. Next up, we get Scott Steiner defeating Tank Abbott and Rick Steiner in an asylum match. This MMA style cage. And Rick Steiner was just thrown in there for no reason. They just threw Rick Steiner in, and what was the whole point of throwing Rick Steiner in here? I mean, Scott Steiner having to deal with Tank Abbott was enough, but really, Rick Steiner, just why? Why was Tank Abbott even in WCW? What, because they wanted to have their own MMA fighter just because they couldn't get Ken Shamrock? You know, if they wanted an MMA fighter, they could have just got freaking Ken Shamrock after he left the WWF. It would have made more sense, but at least they would have done something with Shamrock. But no. We wanted Tank Abbott. Fuck Tank Abbott. And fuck this match because this match sucked. It sucked balls. Scott Steiner got the Steiner recliner. He manages to win. And that was it. He retains his U.S. title. Next up, we get Hulk Hogan defending his career against Billy Kidman. We got Hulk Hogan defeating Billy Kidman. Or Hollywood Hulk Hogan defeating Billy Kidman. With special guest referee Horace Hogan. And this was during the whole Hogan and Billy Kidman feud. And if Kidman won, Hogan would have to retire. That was the whole stipulation. But if Hogan beat Kidman, he would get a shot at the world title, being held by fucking Jeff Jarrett. And this match was fucking bullshit. I mean, nobody looked good in this match. Not Hogan, not Kidman, not Torrie Wilson, not Horace. Yes, you also had Torrie Wilson turn on Billy Kidman when she kicked Kidman in the nuts, and you had Horace, who was the special guest referee, and Hulk Hogan won this match. We knew he was going to win this match, but god damn, this match sucked. I mean, wow. Next up was another match where another well-known name in wrestling had to defend their career. You had Ric Flair defeating his son David Flair with Vince Russo in his fucking corner with his career on the line. And if David Flair won, Ric Flair would have to retire. This match fucking sucked. This match sucked fucking balls. Vince Russo, he gets himself involved in this match. I mean, he handcuffs Ric Flair. And yeah, David Flair gets offense on his father. And then you had Reed Flair, who comes in, Ric Flair's son, he gets involved. You had a teenage Charlotte Flair who gets involved, and they help their dad. Ric Flair gives Rick the keys to the handcuffs. Oh, and Charles Robinson was also the special guest referee. Oh, and Charles Robinson was the referee in this match. And even with Charles Robinson, this match still sucked because it's a WCW 2000 pay-per-view. What'd you expect? This match sucked ass. And of course, then Vince Russo grabs the microphone and says, "Hold it, you piece of shit, Flair. You and me, tomorrow night on Nitro, I got a big surprise for you." And, of course, it walks away with the Flair family winning the match that night, or Ric Flair winning with the help of his family. And we see Ric Flair and Reed Flair. We saw Ric Flair and Reed Flair doing crotch chops, like a suck it crotch chop. Isn't that DX's thing? Isn't that D-Generation X's thing? Next up, this is the reason why I wanted to do this pay-per-view. We had Vampiro taking on Sting in a Human Torch match. The purpose of the match? You light your opponent on fire. And is the ring surrounded by fire like an Inferno match? No, it's not like a fucking Inferno match. There's a literal torch. And yes, there's a torch that gets lit. And Vampiro comes out first with a gas can, with a can of gasoline. And then when Sting is making his entrance, he steals the torch and takes it up the frickin' Tron. And then tells Vampiro to come and get it. Sting bungee jumps down off of the Tron. They were brawling throughout the... While inside the ring, Sting gets doused with gasoline by Vampiro. Then they were racing up the Tron. They were fighting on top of the Tron. And then Sting, while covered in gasoline, gets lit on fire and falls off of the Tron through one of the platforms on the other side, and it was just so unpleasant to watch. I cringed the second time I watched this match. Well, technically I cringed the first time I watched this match. I watched this goddamn pay-per-view twice. So yeah, there was that. And then Vampiro won the match. And then we get to our main event for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. As the champion, Jeff Jarrett defeats Kevin Nash with the help of the Filthy Animals, Ernest the Cat Miller, who was the goddamn WCW commissioner, and fucking Goldberg. This show also had the audacity to fucking turn Goldberg heel. Why the fuck did WCW think turning Goldberg heel was a good idea? And it didn't work because they turned him heel on fucking Kevin Nash. My God. So Jarrett retains the world title thanks to all this bullshit. Thanks in part to the Filthy Animals, Ernest the Cat Miller, and now a newly turned heel Goldberg. No one wanted to boo fucking Goldberg. Nobody wanted to boo Goldberg. This show was absolute shit. This show was more than dog shit. It was pure horse shit. fuck WCW 2000, and fuck Vince Russo. I'm Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see my wrestling faithful in July when I cover Fully Loaded 1998.